Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck. You suck. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce.
Patrick Kane.
I think I'm going to have to start this with Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I've put quite a few hours into this. So this is the latest in the series. It's the second since it was rebooted by the guys at Eidos, Montreal, and via Square Enix. So the first game of this kind of timeline is it's all about Adam Jensen, and it's all about this whole what they dub as mechanical apartheid, and they're quite heavy-handed with it. And that's probably the part of the game that's had the most criticism is the way that they're trying to sort of bind this sort of augmentation thing onto racism and stuff. But you know, I don't really care about that so much. All that really means to me is that it's just got a really kind of, even if it's not terribly well thought out, it's quite a meaty, cool sort of setting for the game beyond, you know, the superficiality of cyberpunk. And I historically I love the Deus Ex series. I've loved them all. I know at the time the first game was criticised a lot for its not mechanics perhaps, but the way it was executed. It was quite primitive in some ways, but I just love the ideas behind it, the fact that you can kind of make your mark on the story, and this one's no different. I've put about 15 hours into it so far. It looks amazing. I know some people have had a problem with how it runs, but I've not really had any problem. I have had to drop stuff down quite a bit. I was getting some crashes and stuff, but it looks beautiful. Some of the levels are huge. The area where most of the game takes place is Prague, in the year 2028, I believe. So you've got those kind of old buildings, but like layered with sort of weird lights and scaffolds and little bits of more modern infrastructure. So it's sort of like it really comes across like City 17, to be honest. I could kind of really feel that as I was playing it, especially with the cops kind of walking around and prodding you with sticks and telling you not to do stuff or go certain places because that's for naturals only and stuff like that. So yeah, they layer the fiction all the way through it, and yeah, it's just the one hub area, but I've come back to it after going away to this other, like you go to a mission that's in this kind of weird city that's elsewhere in Czech Republic, and you come back. That place, incidentally, there's a market there, and that was like almost reminded me quite a lot of Metro, because it's Eastern European, so it's not fully Russian, but it's getting there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They've actually, I mean, the whole thing of Deus Ex is that it's first person, but you don't have to do combat really, or you don't have to take things. You can go non-lethal, and so I have been, because I kind of go that way with those games anyway, and so I almost like wasn't sure how to deal with this guy who was in basically like an exoskeleton, and so I ended up just what they've done in the game is they've, rather than go, if you're going to go non-lethal, you can't use any of this tech that they've given you. All of the tech has like a non-lethal way of working.
Yep.
So the Typhoon thing that you might have seen in the trailers that sort of spreads out, it looked like bombs coming out all around you. That can unleash gas instead. And in the end, I've been taking out these big armoured dudes by using some EMP ammo in my pistol and then running up to them and basically smashing them over the head. The takedown move is the same as it was in the last game. Hold it down to do lethal, just tap it to do non-lethal. What else? Yeah, so as well as quite early on in the game, you get you meet a guy who you get damaged, and you go to see this guy who's like a doctor or whatever, and he goes, "Oh, we found like loads of other augmentations in here that you didn't know about before." The kind of wrinkle with this is that in order to activate any of them, you have to deactivate another, so you have to kind of make that choice. Although I think later on in the game you get to kind of fix that, and I think you get the ability to do all of these new abilities, one of which haven't used loads, but it's basically the blink maneuver from Dishonored, which you can power up to actually take people out as you charge into them. And yeah, it's more Deus Ex, which I love. You know, story delivered on that same level that made me love The Witcher 3 so much, and I'm having a great time with it. I did about 10 hours with it yesterday because it was bank holiday. I was just like, yeah, I'm just committing, and I had a great time. I think I've got through. I'm probably about halfway through it now, from what I've heard about the length of it. But apparently, the other controversial thing about this game is that
microtransactions, pre-order bonuses only being usable once.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the microtransactions are there, but I had to look for them, so they're not intrusive. It just allows you to buy praxis kits, which is what you use to upgrade your augmentation. So yeah, sure, you can pay 30 quid, unlock all your augmentations, and not have to worry about any of the RPG experience that you get and unlock them all anyway.
I understand they're going to make money. Whoever they are, they're going to make money. But why would you buy a game where it's like buying a game and then watching a let's play of it?
Yeah.
Why would you do it?
It's more like buying a cheat.
Yes, and why buy one when the game packs have them
all
all
always
anyway?
free.
Yes.
Traditionally, cheats were always very, very free. They were codes or buttons pressed on. So, yeah, monetizing cheats is pretty crappy.
Well, the thing is, the game starts you with already with an overwhelming number of abilities, because it, like I think one of the God of Wars did it, where you had all your stuff that you'd got in God of War 1. God of War 2 started with you at full power, and then you get kicked back down in the dirt, and then build your way up again however you choose.
Yeah, Prototype did that as well. Prototype.
Yeah, it's a trope, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing is with Deus Ex you're just going to get the ability to unlock all that stuff and not really know what any of it does, because the beauty of it, I find, is like when I'm playing through the game, I tend to keep a couple of those praxis kits spare. So when I get to a point and it's like, oh well, if I had one more kit, I'd be able to manipulate the turrets at the security station as well as the cameras, and it's like, yeah, that could be really handy now, and it's good to have that in the bank for when you need it. I think if you've got all of that choice at first, you just wouldn't even use some of it, I don't think, because also part of what I find with RPGs in general is I always tend to the way I build my level my characters, I always look at what I've been using and then kind of choose a skill that complements that or improves that, and that makes sense to me, because I'm getting that experience for doing that ability, and then I'm improving on that ability. That's like the Skyrim system, isn't it, basically? And I play all those RPGs like that, because otherwise I'm just like, how do I make these choices? It just seems too random otherwise for my immersion, I guess. But yeah, so there was the controversy with the microtransactions. There's the controversy with the pre-order thing. I didn't even know what pre-order shit I had for the game. Because wasn't it like a pre-order incentive that they did with that stupid thing where you were unlocking them over time, which they ditched in the end? And I think in the end they just bunged that in with the standard edition.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to pre-order the game to get those bonuses.
I feel quite prepared for this conversation as I watched Jim Sterling's calm and reasoned debate on this in one of his videos yesterday.
I haven't watched the second one he's done on it yet.
There was the augmented pre-order stuff that got pulled quite quickly because everybody went, "You can go and fuck yourself." I think.
Quite rightly.
But then another one came back, which was more standard pre-order. But part of the pre-order stuff was you got free items for the game that you could use. But it's not for your account. It's for once. So
it's one use.
It's a single use for one character. And once you've used it on that character, perhaps your test character that you've gone the wrong way with, that's it. Tough shit. You don't have it anymore. So the workaround is start the game, make a save point, and then the things will be available for you.
Restart
you go back
from
to that
there.
save point.
Yeah. I mean, I've been fumbling my way through the game. At first, I started with. I hadn't watched any Mr. Biscuit explaining all the options to me because I just want to play the game, damn it. So I started playing with a controller because that's how I played the last game. I think my controller ran out of battery, so I thought, I'll just give it a go on mouse, and my hand hasn't come off the mouse since. I had a really nice posh Logitech mouse that died a few weeks back, and I replaced it with like this cheap piece of shit, but it's got two buttons on the side which I combine to two of my augmentation slots, and I've got the blink one bound to my mouse button, my middle mouse. So I feel like I've got so much control here, even more than having, like a controller. You have access to all those buttons like quite closely. It's awesome. Anyway,
try using your HOTAS for it. That would help.
But no, I quite like the way it's handled, and the options are quite numerous. You can dial the UI way back, so it all fades away when you're not using it and stuff, which is nice. And I'm getting a good frame rate. Or like I said, I've had to drop a few things down, but it still looks amazing. And yeah, the only thing I feel sometimes with the game, and I feel like this with all the Deus Ex games, is that I'm like annoyed at myself for not getting through an area with a certain ability. It's like, I could have done that, and then you're like, damn, do I go back and do the whole thing again?
Is it like I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider as we discussed last week or next week?
Right.
With that, you can go back and redo some of the areas. Can you do that here, or once you've done it, is that done? You can't go back and retry it, redo different bits or missions and stuff? Do you have to replay the whole thing to go back and do a mission again?
Yeah, right. It's pretty traditional in that way.
Okay.
You'd have to start a new game or have an earlier save and lose progress. It's not got that kind of arcadey ability to just play through another bit.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it's got some other bits in there. There's a breach mode, which I think is some kind of challenge thing I can't really be arsed with. And there's also one bit of DLC that I haven't gone near because they say don't play this until you finish the main game because spoilers and
isn't
stuff.
The breach mode it's just hacking but multiplayer? Is the hacking component as a multiplayer thing?
No, I think it's a proper first-person game.
Right. Okay.
It looks like VR missions from Metal Gear. I think that's what it was inspired by, but no, I've not touched that because there's this amazing 30-hour single player game that I'd rather be playing. So the weapons all look pretty cool. I'm just using, like I said, I'm doing non-lethal, but you can still. Yeah, I've just been selling all my ammo. I've been doing all the hacking. It's just how I usually play those games. I just find it much more rewarding, sort of sneaking around and ghosting my way through sections, and people going, "Oh, who was that?" and just sort of gliding through it all. It's quite cool.
Can I ask, does it feel more of the same, or does it feel it's moving on?
It's more of the same with knobs on, like with the extra augmentations. I don't know necessarily how well they fit, yeah, I mean, if you like it. The other thing that Jim Sterling said, actually, is that the ending, everyone said this, is that the ending is abrupt. And apparently that's because they carved this into 3 games. So there's going to be 2 more. If that was... I think I'm kind of grateful in a way because it's nice to have more to look forward to. And... because I love this series, it was away for a long time. It came back. It was really good remake of it. But yeah, there is talk is like they're eventually going to collide into the original game, which I don't mind either. Because if they remade that with some better visuals and more refined controls like this, then it'd be great to play through that again. But yeah, it does seem like Square are all about carving up their games into,
Yes.
as big as they can get away with.
Monetise, Yep.
Or as small as
Or
they
as
can
small
get
as
away
they
with,
can.
rather. Yeah, because but I like the idea that there's another game this size coming, or another two this size, because I think 40 hours is 40 hours. That's enough. I don't think I could do a 120-hour Deus Ex game. I don't think the systems in the game would even support that. Like, they'd have to have so many things for you to do. I don't know. It would get samey, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Deus Ex, and I'm having a great time with it. And I don't know if I'll be playing it next time, because it's not the most massive game, but I'm kind of relieved, really. I haven't played a game of this length and depth this year, I don't think, because it's been fairly light on that sort of thing.
Okay.
This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya.
Farewell.
My friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck at Call of Duty.